Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching from. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and welcome to the Ghana Agenda for January 14, 2023. I would like to first of all start the program by wishing all my viewers a happy new year and prosperous dreams and everything you plan for yourself. I'm wishing that it happens this year, that 2023 ends up good for all of us. We've been off air for a couple of days, and I'm glad to be back. Had to take care of some personal issues, but happy to have you all back in the new year and back to business, back to talking about issues happening in Ghana, in our country, that are very important for us to understand as we are also stakeholders or players with regards to things that happen in our country. We send our monies there, we have family there, and there's so much happening. So we'll talk about a few of them today, or three that I think are important. First one would be whether or not Ghana is bankrupt today. So we'll say that bankruptcy is described as a situation where an individual or business is unable to pay their debts when they come due. We know what is happening in our country in terms of the country's ability to honor its debts, and all manners of reasons have been given. We've been told COVID and Russia-Ukraine is a reason for why we are where we are. So we'll get into the details of all that and determine on our own whether we, in fact, as a country, are in bankruptcy, or if we are showing signs of bankruptcy. Then we'll pivot into the end of year celebrations that usually happens in Ghana. We've seen floods of foreigners coming in, especially from the United States, to celebrate Christmas and New Year. So we want to understand, how is it possible that somebody who goes to Ghana is able to meet with the president, and what do they do when they met or when they meet with the president? In this particular case, we are talking about Meek Mills, who is an American rap musician who actually visited Ghana, went to the Jubilee House, and certain things happened. We want to interrogate that. How did it happen that a person like Meek Mills would make it to the Jubilee House and then take the videos that we saw him taking, and even had the audience of the president, and said some things that we would like to discuss and see whether there is a problem here, because is this something that any of our own artists will likely have the opportunity to do? If not, then why are we having foreign artists join or enter into our seat of government and undertake such meetings, say such manner of things? What is the planning around that? We want to interrogate that. And then the last thing, again, we want to talk about would be looking back at 2022, all the things that happened, and try to understand where we are as a country and where we are going, or what we are going to see going forward. And look some kind of an outlook or projection for the year 2023 and beyond. I am already joined by my brother, Lifetime Legacy. I would also be joined by Efa Amayao, Paul Disosu, and the rest of the team. I'll take a quick break, and when I get back, I will introduce my guests and we will start the conversation. If you haven't already done so, again, my name is Alfred Amuzu. Please share the link so that we can begin this conversation. We'll be right back.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
Just one more pic, JJ, please.
Oh, Mama, really?
Smile. It's not every day my eldest son graduates.
I couldn't have done it without you.
All without Auntie Jane's generous support.
Here is to Auntie Jane's well-appreciated World Remit money transfers.
World Remit Corporation is licensed as a money transmitter by the New York State Department of Financial Services, as a foreign transmittal agency by the Massachusetts Division of Banks, number FT 1179663, and licensed by the Georgia Department of Banking and Finance, NMLS 1179663, Massachusetts Foreign Transmittal License, FT 1179663.
World Remit, a better way to send money. Download the app or visit worldremit.com.
All right, welcome back to the show. As I was saying, today we are talking about three things. We're talking about whether or not Ghana is actually on the brink of bankruptcy, and then we'll look at the visits by McMills to the Jubilee House, and finally a review of 2022 and some projections for the year 2023. If you haven't already done so, please share the link so that others can join. I am already joined by my brother, Lifetime Legacy. Lifetime Legacy, can you hear me?
Yes, my brother, I can hear you.
All right, good to have you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Alfred.
Good. So we are expecting Paul Isosu to join as well, and also Paul Efameyao, Kojo Amponsa, and our own Dr. Ato Kwabena Danso would also be joining us. Lifetime, you're hiding your face. Everything is okay over there? Okay, so just to go over the issues table for discussion today, and we can start the conversation and bring in the others when they come in. Lifetime, can you still hear me? Okay, perfect. I see your light. Everything is looking good now. All right, Lifetime Legacy. So basically, the issues we have tabled are one that are we on the verge of bankruptcy? I got my big bro joining. All right, welcome to the show, my big brother Kojo DC. Happy New Year. Happy to see you. Okay, I think
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, my brother. Happy New Year, Lifetime.
Yes,
Happy New Year, my brother Kojo. Happy New Year, everybody.
I see
Yeah,
today.
Happy New Year to you.
You are not on the road. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I'm at home today.
Perfect. You don't make any money when you're home, but it's all good. Man need to rest more, right?
Exactly. You got to take time. Sometimes you can't be on the road all the time.
That's good. All right. So the topics we want to talk about today are simple. We are asking the question, what is happening in Ghana with regards to the debt restructuring program that the government has undertaken. And so let's start. I believe we should start a conversation. We know the other team members are struggling behind now, but when they join, they can also pick up from where we are. So I'm going to start with you, Kojo, and my very first questions, but of course, I know you're going to tell us, you should tell us about your New Year celebrations and plans for the year. So, if there are some good ideas that we can all pick on that. But what I wanted to say first is that, in a typical bankruptcy scenario, you have an organization or an individual who's not able to pay his or their bill, and therefore declares a bankruptcy, which means inability to pay. We are, going to prevent your creditors from seizing. We're going to protect you in a way, so your creditors don't come just take all your properties, etc., etc. But in doing so, I mean, in the United States context, we have about 3 major chapters of bankruptcy that we know it's out there. You can do a chapter 7, which is liquidation, which means you are bankrupt. Like, you are not going to be able to pay your stuff, your debts back. So whatever properties you have, we'll take them, sell them, and use the profit from that to settle your creditors. And chapter 13 is to say, please, I can pay you now, but I'll pay you in the near future. So in each of these scenarios, chapter 13 and 7, those are individual bankruptcies. If you're a business and you're trying to do that, you file a chapter 7 or chapter 11. But I'm trying to say that in each of these scenarios that I've just described, you have the court appointing what we call a bankruptcy trustee, which is somebody, not you, somebody external of the person who's going bankrupt, to oversee the process. I mean, who are going to be the creditors who have to be settled? What are the priorities of settlements that would be undertaken? Who gets what technically, and even do sort of an inventory of your assets, etc., etc. But in the case of governments, when they go bankrupt, like what we are seeing in Ghana, or in the case of a government's inability to pay its debts, we don't get, the government is its own trustee. All right. And especially if the debt is owed to the citizens, it becomes problematic because this is the government or the executive power who is administering this procedure, and they are the same people who are the debtors. So it kind of makes it hard for the creditors to be given a fair shake. What is your position on this debt restructuring? Do you see a fair shake given to our people who are bondholders or who hold treasury bills in Ghana? Maybe you hold one yourself too. I'd like to hear from your perspective. What do you think this whole process is going to be fair?
Thank you very much, Amazu. And again, a happy new year to you all, my brother, everybody here listening, people who are listening, who are viewing us as much. First of all, what I'm asking this question when you send the topics onto the platform,
right?
Ask the question: why are we saying Ghana in the blink of bankruptcy? What are we basing that on? That's the question I asked, because the reason I'm asking this is like, if you can explain, why do you think Ghana is in the blink of bankruptcy?
Well, so the simple explanation is that Ghana has declared that it's unable to pay its bills because when countries need money, companies need money, and even individuals, when they need money to undertake projects, you either go to the bank and get a loan, or in the case of companies, you're able to sell bonds, which is like guarantee payments to whoever is buying from you. So the person, let's say, spends some money, let's say $100,000 to buy a bond from you. You promise them a coupon, which is like the interest rate they're going to get, and it's guaranteed that they will get that. They are not invested in your company so that when the company fails, they don't get paid. They have to be paid whether the company fails or not. That is how bonds operate. Here is a country that declared that it's unable to pay its bonds when they come due, or the coupons on the bonds when they come due, and so they have to restructure with the citizens. And so when you do that as an individual, it's called bankruptcy. When you do that as a company, it's called bankruptcy. And therefore, if a country is doing the same, I think it's appropriate to say they are going bankrupt.
No, because the premise of where you're basing all this is not in the good step. Let me say this. I know, yes, we are in difficulties, right? The government admits that, but we are nowhere near bankruptcy or even insolvency of a country. This is a thing that we are all trying. We know we are in a pickle. Others, we speak as Ghanaians, as a country, we are all in this thing together. We have to go out of this debt sustainability that we don't have, right? We've been borrowing, which I will admit in part, yes, we've borrowed so much, and we've done a lot of it with it, but the COVID and then the Ukraine war has diminished everything that we thought we could be able to do, right? So let's put that one aside. Let's talk about what we are talking about in terms of the government not being able to pay it debt. No, what the government has said that yes, we want a discussion with bondholders, both domestic and then foreign. That and remember, it's not that we are not going to pay our debt. There are certain categories of debt that we've asked those people that we will not be paying. It's not even included on the 2023 budget that the finance minister presented. But some of the debts that we owe, we talk about having some of them. It's not all of them. Some of them being restructured. So before we sit down and discuss as to the restructuring going forward, we want to hold on in terms of paying the interest on it, and that has nothing to do like Ghana is not able to service its debt. No, it's just some bonds that the government, saying we think we need to renegotiate and then come back to it again. But before we finish with the negotiation, what we want to do is we want to hold on in terms of the interest payment on that. So the government is nowhere. Can you hear me, Amazon? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. You're loud and
Okay,
clear.
so the government. Okay, thank you very much. The government is nowhere near bankruptcy or insolvency. We are not Sri Lanka and all of them. This is a government that we're still paying workers. We are paying civil servants. We are paying the military. We are paying the police. We are paying. Everybody is having their paycheck. I can't say for sure that government is not in difficulty. That I will not say that. We have admitted to it. But the problem is there are certain things. We want to come into a good footing, right? Let me give you an example. When we reach out the staff agreement, level agreement thing, and then when we put out this statement came out that we are going to do debt exchange, right? Look at where the dollar to the CD came up to, right? It just fall from almost 17 to almost 8 cities to a dollar. It was some confident that the government was going to have some revenues coming in to do things, because we are not going to pay interest rate on certain debts that we own. So we are going to have those revenues to be used for other things. And then the organized labor came and said, no, we are not going to allow. And I was talking this to my mother-in-law. I said, listen, people say, oh, we're not allowed this to happen. We'll not allow you to use our pension to do a debt exchange. You're not going to give us, we are going to lose money. And guess what? After the government withdrew that and came back, look at where the dollar is again. So yes, maybe we have to all sit down and say, are we willing to sacrifice to a certain level so that we know the mistake has already been done? This morning, I think the former deputy attorney, no, finance minister, Atuforsin posted something, listed all the things that had happened under the MPP. And I said, yeah, we all know the problems. What are the solutions? On Twitter, that's what I said. Can you prefer any solution beside the complaints or lamenting? So we understand that, yes, this is the situation we are in. The country is in difficulty in terms of finances. We don't have debt sustainability. We understand that. This is the way forward. The way forward is to bring all together, like means those who are having the individual bonds. I'm not saying that they are not going to be affected. Or surely, if I've invested $1,000 that I'm thinking that I'm going to have a 2% interest every year, and you said this year I'm not paying you, even that with the new restructuring is the 2023 one, which was like the initial one that we are not going to pay anything. We are going to pay a certain interest on it, not much, but somebody's going to lose some money anyway. And you talk about time of money, and there's going to be some lose in the other end of it. But what we are saying is, can we all sacrifice as Ghanaians, including governments? I would prefer, and this is something that I have just always, I know people have already suggested it, like the government will come in if people are going to lose some of their monies. Why not cut Article 71 holders, like all these S gracias that are being paid? Why don't we say on this very 2025, there's not going to be no payment for that? That also will bring the debt down. You understand? That's a huge sum
Right,
of
right.
money that
So
I use on that. So there will be like with the holistic a sacrifice of both all Ghanaians and the government. But in this case, I understand when individuals and then corporation and organized labor are saying no, we'll not allow you to use our money. But the bad side of it is, look at what is happening now. When we withdrew just the organized labor from it, look at what the dollar is, $13 again, to 13 cedi to a dollar. So those
so
are all the fed that comes against all of us. At the end of the day, they have this we are comfort now share a combonia unsuti chromobi. So we are going to suffer at the end of the day. Why don't we find a way as people to say yes, we have already gone to this trouble. How are we going to get in out of it where we will not go back to this situation that we're in? We admit we've made some mistakes down the road, which we
okay.
have the president have admitted. So moving forward, we should all come together to be able to do this. And I sympathize with bondholders. I don't own any bond in Ghana, so I don't say I have nothing to say on that one. But I am just saying I have my investment here. I understand I live here, but we can sacrifice in a certain way to bring the country back.
Okay, thank you so much. So, in summary of what I've heard from you is that you wouldn't describe our current situation as bankruptcy. Like you think we
No.
are, yeah.
No, we are nowhere near bankruptcy. But the reason is just simple: is
When do we
that
get to
we are paying.
bankruptcy?
No, that is when we'll become like Sri Lanka or we come to Argentina where we cannot service it. Then, like I already said,
But,
the debt that we say we are not able to pay or we don't want to pay is some categories of debts, and we are not saying we are not paying it. We said that we want to renegotiate those debts, those bonds. So in the
yeah.
meantime, before we
Mhm.
do that, we are not going to pay the interest on that specific one. And
Okay.
that excludes the 2023 budget that was presented, which we had debt that we are going to services also. Like we say, I mean, it's very easy for opposition leaders or the media who portray Ghana is in the blink of bankruptcy. It's fine. I understand it. I understand the language, but we are no near anywhere of that because we are
Okay.
paying workers, we are paying students, we are paying everything. All statutory debts are being paid.
All
It's
right.
just that we are lacking of money.
I'll circle back with you with regards to that because I am not of the view that once you're bankrupt, you don't pay your. If you're not paying salary, that's when you are bankrupt. Because even companies, when they are bankrupt, even individuals, when they are bankrupt, they still eat, right? Companies, when they are
Yeah, but
bankrupt,
but they eat, but they will lay people off. This time, the country which is in bankruptcy is still
which
hiring
is
300 over 300 police officers, over 50 military, almost about 500 people that were being employed back into the 2023. So a
yeah.
country that is in bankruptcy cannot do that, right? And if I as an individual goes as a bankruptcy, I will not be able to buy a car. I'll not be able to buy things for my girlfriend or my sisters, right? So
Yeah.
that is the difference. Yes.
No, I mean, we are defining bankruptcy very narrowly, but I'll come back to you on that. Let me pick Lifetime Legacy's thoughts on this as well. Lifetime Legacy. When I was listening to our brother deliver his first comments on bankruptcy, I'm talking about Kojudisi, he said the government also has to bear some responsibility. There has to be some cuts here and there. He's recommended a few. He said the president admitted to making some mistakes that in hindsight, shouldn't have been something he has done. He talks about the fact that we are still paying workers. We are even increasing the number of employees in our security forces, right? In listening to him, are you convinced that what we are having here is just difficulties, or do you agree that we are on the brink of a bankruptcy here?
Good afternoon, Alfred, and good afternoon to our listeners and viewers. And Happy New Year to all of you, including my brother Kojo and my far end. and the rest of the panels who are yet to join.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
I came from Ghana just last night.
Oh, wow. You're welcome. Tell us
Thank
about
you.
Ghana afterwards.
Yeah, so the situation within the country is still fresh in my mind. I don't know. Maybe my brother Kojo at this material time is waiting till his government openly says that we are at bankruptcy before probably he will change his narrative or he will change his language. Having said that, I think my brother Kojo have started well this year. I started on good notes, but I know he can do better than that. In his admission, he mentioned that the government, from where he is standing or he sits, he can admit that the government err in certain ways. I hope he would have added enough. He could have done better by adding that, and for that matter, calling his government to order to do certain things that the opposition have all these years be calling them to do. If my brother Kojo could have done that, he would have getting 100% gun, 121 gunshot salute from my end. But notwithstanding, I know his role is to defend his party, and regardless of whether it's right or wrong, you have to defend it. So with that one, I can forgive him. You see, Alfred, where we've gotten as a country, you don't need a soothsayer to tell you we are gradually or in a state of bankruptcy. My brother Kojo is just simplifying the issue by saying that as long as we are able to pay salary and get one or two people on a payroll, it means all is well. But we all know it goes beyond that. If you are owing somebody, to the extent that if the person does not have mercy on you, decided that he's touching your assets, that is where you begin to notice that you are indeed in a difficult situation. I hope and pray our debtors will not come after us anytime soon. They will give us enough time to bounce back to do what is needful. Other than that, we are in a difficult situation and anything can happen any moment going forward. After, the ridiculous aspect of it is that the government hypocritically always asking Ghanaians to sacrifice. Meanwhile, they are not ready to sacrifice a bit of what they are earning. How many times Ghanaians or the opposition or the party that I belongs to having called this government to reduce the number of its employees? How many times? What action has the president taken so far in doing that? You see, if you are an elderly person within a house and you want your children to portray certain kind of behavior or a lifestyle, you must first demonstrate the lifestyle you expect your children to live. You can't be telling your children in the house that when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you must do is to brush your teeth. Meanwhile, your children will see you first thing in the morning eating without brushing your teeth. You see, when you do that, you are not setting a good example. And whatever you tell your children, they will not take it serious because you are telling them one thing and you are doing other. Ghanaians are not prepared to sacrifice a bit of any resources to the current regime because they have noticed that the current regime is irresponsible. They preach one thing and do the other. So how do you expect us to sacrifice? What moral authority do you have to call Ghanaians to sacrifice? So with the issue of bankruptcy, we are there. It is just a matter of time that the reality will hit us. One aspect also, which I think I find it very uncomfortable, is the impunity at which the finance minister and the government go about things. With regard to this debt exchange program, he took a unilateral decision without consulting the affected parties. Where or which country does that, or how can you do that?
What they
The resources you have
consulted with is it organized labor at some point?
organized labor and individuals.
The retirement folks.
Absolutely.
What they fail to consult with the individual bondholders who perhaps save their money. A lot of people who save their monies with banks, for instance, got to realize that the banks use their savings to purchase bonds and treasury bills. So no matter where you find yourself in society, in one way or the other, you are going to be affected by this restructuring program. So it makes people say that the consultation should have been a lot broader than just identifying a few groups and talking to them and negotiating with them. It should be more expanded, so to say.
So the impunity at which they were doing things from the very day they took office is the same impunity that they continue to exhibit, because people life saving money, you decided to touch that money without a due diligence or consultation. That is a lifetime savings of people. You can't extend your irresponsible behavior to people who have been responsible in their adult life or in their working life. So I think the backlash that is coming, for me, is expected and is legitimate, because people do savings for various reasons. You can't just get up unilaterally and begin to go after their resources without a consultation. Alfred, if it is you and I who have a business or investment with various institutions and we are being treated this way, you and I will not be happy. So I strongly agree with organized labor and individual bondholders who are going after the government, resisting or doing all attempts that their resources should not be touched. I strongly agree with them. The earlier the government go back to the drawing table, do what is needful, the better for them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that.
Alfred,
yes.
Can I come in for a minute?
Okay.
See,
make it like
very quick. Yeah. My brother, Lifetime. My brother Lifetime says something that the impunity of the listen. Do the government know? Sometimes it's very difficult in these various situations in terms of how to defend without being insensitive to the people who own the bonds. And then if initially the individual bonds was not included into this, right? The other one was within, let me say, organized labor. That was the one that was going to be used to do this. In organized labor, we have multiple organized labor in different umbrellas, right? They have fund managers. The government have to speak to the fund managers. They cannot go and see which organized labor has a bond with them. So the fund managers are the ones that the government spoke with, and they have to relate that to their clients, right? So in hindsight, people will say, "Oh, you are not able to organize. You should have called everybody." How can we call each of? Let me say, if we have 31 million people in Ghana, and then we are talking about government to bring everybody. Can the government know everybody to do that?
I would disagree with let's remember that when we were having the e-levy debate, which of course we are going to go over all the things that took place in 2022, which e-levy is one. When we're having an e-levy debate, the same concerns came up that we should broaden
African. Can you please hold on for them for that? I'll let you finish. But what I'm saying is, you're talking about a tax that is going to affect a lot of people. This is bond, and then this is something that is investment, and very few people are. This is not the entire country. So it is a different. Like I said, if sometimes when we defend it, it becomes like insensitive to say this. But we should also be a little bit open-minded in terms of what we compare to.
Okay, let me just land on my, and then I'll tell you how to explain a little bit of that to you too. So basically, we are saying that when we were doing this testing, like you said, it was going to affect a lot of people. So we broadened the conversation where we held town halls to kind of educate people on what the ramifications would be. Now, in this particular case, the bonds, although, and you are correct that it's not too many individuals who actually bought bonds, but we are saying that if you have a savings in a bank, chances are your bank has bought into one of these assets, and so a lot of people are affected than you think. Actually, that's what I mean by, the impact is broad, and so the consultation should also be broadened. I'll stop there.
No, but what I was trying to arrive at is, yes, I understand if the government knows, like Dr. To has a bond, my brother you has, we all have one, so I have to consider this. The government first of all have to do the first point of contact, which is the what do you call, they call fund managers. Those are the one, then they have to lay those information to the individual bonds, and then they will bring in whatever information that is coming from there. Like I said, anytime you're trying to, because when it comes to money, nobody wants to be taking anything from them. So I just, once you try to defend so much, it's like you're being sensitive to the people who are losing their money. But we should also have to exercise some discretion. Like, the government cannot just go out and do town hall meetings if, for instance, 5 million people owns the bond. Then you go everywhere. You don't even know who has it. But the first contact should be the bond, the fund managers. Those are the ones that the government communicated with. After that, the organized labor came in. They've said whatever they've said. That has been withdrawn. And like I said, we are having some effect on it. And look at where the dollar is. It went up to 8 cities. Now it's 13. So we should all come together to find a way out, to get out of this pickle that we are in. We are in a pickle. We should understand it.
The demand and supply of dollar, it's hinged on so many different things. So let's not simplify it to say because there was some negotiation going on.
I'm not. Yeah. You see, the market reacts to things that goes around, and that's how the market reacts. When they know there are certain things that are being done, especially we need this IMF. All these things are being done because we need the IMF support to be able to go into the food that we want in terms of coming out from. Yeah, without the IMF one, let me land on this one. What I'm trying to say is, if we are not able to get the IMF bond, now we are out of the international market bond, how are we going to survive as a country?
Exactly. So it's not because
so we should sacrifice something to get something.
That is the reason why when your government was recklessly borrowing, we're calling them to order.
Yeah, what the IMF is going to give us is not even enough for us to be honest. So basically, we've driven the country to the ditch. Pretty much that's what it is.
I was just say something. Mm-hmm. No, I was just going to say something quick. When you go to IMF, the $3 billion which they're going to give you in 3 years, $1 billion is not, but it gives you the opportunity to go back to the bond market to get bonds, because there are some things that you're supposed to do. No, you know that. It's not something you have to like. You know that. When the NDC went in 2014 for the IMF, it was about 900 and something. It wasn't even $1 billion, but they were still able to go to the bond market to get some finance, to finance government projects. So it just gives you that credibility of going out there and get that little money to support it. As to how you use it to benefit the Ghanaian people is the most important thing.
Okay, thank you. Paul, let's bring you into this conversation. Paul, can you hear us? I Are you able to join video, or you got the kiddos with you?
Good afternoon to you all, and Happy New Year.
Yep.
I'm happy to be here this afternoon to also contribute on this program. Wow. It's unfortunate that our friends from the other side are trying to create false impression this afternoon on this big show. Look, let's set the record straight. As we speak, Ghana has been dropped to a junk status in the bond market. What that means is that when you go, or nobody will borrow his money to we as a country. So could you this issue understand that we've been dropped to the junk status? That's number one. Number two, we are unable to service our debt. As we speak, the government has put in a notice out there that people with bonds and their interest and all those stuff cannot be paid, and they have to hold off all of it. Number three, as we speak, inflation is 54.2 as we speak. Number four, as we speak, the dollar has risen back, or has gone back to over 12.2, which I sent some money this afternoon, 12.2 through waves. So you see, when you look at all these factors, and my brother this will be telling us that Ghana is not bankrupt. I find it very difficult to understand his analysis and where he's coming from. The simple part of it is that we cannot service our debts. That is the simple basic fact of it. And it is a fact that, and we all know, or we all knew that this was going to get to this level. Because when they started misbehaving, when they started turning false figures, when they started representing to the good people of Ghana different set of figures, and go to the IMF and give them different set of figures, we raise a lot of issues. But our good friends from the other side will come and sit on this show and defend it tooth and nail. Now, all the things we've been saying, or all the things the minority has been speaking of, this is not strange, this is not news, this is not surprise. We all knew we're going to get to this level. And we've gotten to the level where we're supposed to be. Because if you have a finance minister whose key interest is just go around to borrow, and because his company is going to be the roadshow masters, they will get 2% of the money. He was just borrowing left, right, center, forward. At the time that the NPP was taking power from the NDC in 2017, January 7th, the country's debt was around 120 billion Ghana cedi. As we speak, we are about 423 billion Ghana cedi. They've borrowed money and borrowed money and borrowed money and borrowed money, and now nobody is interested to borrow us money on the stock market. These are the things that we've been talking about. Now, the question, my brother, my friend, Kojo DC was trying to make analysis that the dollar came down because blah, blah. Look, the reason why the dollar came down a month ago was because the anticipation of most Ghanaians were that, and the false hope that the government of Kojo DC gave to the good people of Ghana that they are about to meet, or they've met the first IMF conditions. That is why a lot of people, or that's why the dollar came down, because people were thinking that they were going to be injecting 3 billion into the system. So that is what changed the mindset of people, and the people who are, buying dollars, hiding, they stopped it because they knew that there was going to be an IMF, bailout coming into the system. But now, as we speak, the dollar is still going back. And I said, today I've changed dollar. It's no more 8, but it's in the 12. Now,
it's 12.39 on Waze.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I sent money today. So now, the question over here is, who caused it? My friend Kojo was saying that they are feeling that we should, support the government. Let's cut down on expenses. Yes, Ghana is for all of us, because if we in the opposition do not help them to, save our country, by the time we take the power from them on January 7th, 2025, we'll be deep neck into the ditch, whereby it will be difficult for us to even do anything. So we'll be able to help them. But before we help them, this government must know how to select its priority. Number one, in the 2023 budget, they've estimated a huge amount of money in support of the cathedral. At the moment, at where we are now, do we need to continue the cathedral building? And the obvious answer is no. I am a Christian, a strong Christian as such. I'm a Bible-believing person. I believe in God, and I go to church every Sunday, and I contribute and I pay my tithe every Sunday when I go to church. But you cannot build a house of God with surrounded with a lot of corruption, with a lot of, unclear documentation and all those stuff. The question we are asking that you are now going to take individual bonds to save yourself. Why are you going to invest money into this cathedral that we are all saying that, yes, cathedral is good, but it is not the appropriate time. The situation we are in now, we don't need to put up this cathedral. Let's hold off of this cathedral and rather channel those money into other ventures and save the country. Number two, I want to this issue understand that if he doesn't know, anytime the president of the country moves out of the Jubilee House, the seat of government, to any function, the chair he sits on is placed in a V8 that is forward and has a bodyguard that is bodyguarding that chair. If Kojo DC wants to appeal to Ghanaians that we should support, I think those are the places that they should start cutting down expenses. Number three, when you look at the money allocated to government operation this in the 2023 budget, it has ballooned up. We are saying that, or the government is saying that things are difficult, and they've admitted that we are in a difficult situation. Then why do you increase your expenditure in the government machinery? In the government machinery. Why can't they rather reduce costs?
Even the number of ministers, the number of
I am coming there. I'm making my submission.
It's just ridiculous. Okay.
I am coming there. Look at the amount of money that they've devoted for government operations just in the 2023 budget. It's unacceptable. We were expecting that if they want to cut down expenses, that's one of the places we should see them cutting down expenses. Now, I know the NPP folks on this show this have to be telling us that, yes, they've cut down expenses. In quantification, in monetary terms, they should tell us how much are they saving. They should let us know. It is nowhere in the 2023 budget. Now, in a country that, if we are serious-minded people, look at the situation we are in. At this moment, we expect that the president should have cut down on the number of ministers and deputy ministers to show commitment that he is serious about this thing that he's saying, that we should all bring our hands on deck. For me, all that is happening, all that is going on, is as a doing and the disrespect that the Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo government and his NPP government have for the good people of Ghana. They don't regard us. They are spending left, right, center, forward, misusing the tax resources that the good people of Ghana are paying into their government coffers for government operations, and you come and stand and tell us that we should cut down costs. What you, the president, and your government, you are not cutting down costs. As we speak, the president is traveling on his way. He's into UK. Is he going on the taxpayers' money? How many people are going with him? What is he going to do? Assuming he's even taking his vacation, fine. But how many delegates is he going with? All these are the things we are talking about. That they should cut down on expenses.
On that note, Dr. Ofori wants me to ask you, do you think cutting expenses will stop if the opposition takes over?
Of course. Of course. Do you think the opposition will take over and they will still be spending money and using money like the way these two are doing it? Everybody will come after them. I will come after my party. if we come into power and we don't cut down on expenses, if we come to power and we don't see and try to, cut the quote according to our size, as we speak, there are some of the, political, talks and the political promises they gave. Example, look at the nurses and then the teacher training allowance.
Are you saying you're going to cut that?
No, they were not going to cut it because it's a political tool for them, and they think if they go against it, to go after them. But the time has come. I listened to one of the, best economists in the country, Kwame Pieni, who is an NPP member. He stated categorically that, look, that program should be stopped because it's taking a toll on the government.
Right. And so I think the suggestion that the opposition have, or your party have, was that since we've upgraded the training colleges to tertiary institution level or to degree issuing colleges, that they should be giving loans, just like every university.
That is what I did. That's what we did when we were in the university. They gave us, so there was nothing wrong with it. Now, as we speak, they've cut down, they've returned back to the quota system again. You see this mischievous and then the propaganda they've been playing with the people's mind. I am saying this afternoon that Ghana is in the junk status. Inflation is 54, above 54%. The dollar has risen back to about above 12 to a dollar.
Right.
I am saying that government do not have the means and ways to pay money. Look at the struggle between Ghana and the government and Labour. Labour is saying that they are looking for how much? 60, I think, is it 60% or 50%? But government could not pay. They have agreed on 30%. And even with the 30%, the finance minister who has run the economy down is saying it's going to be difficult for government to fulfill that promise. Look, Ghana is collapsing under this super incompetent NPP government.
All right.
And we are hoping and we believe and we think that the time has come for the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to take the bull according to the form. He has to do some changes. His brother, his cousin, is running down the economy of Ghana. Ken Ofori-Atta is not fit to continue as Minister for Finance.
He has gotten another ministerial.
That is why I'm coming. No, they've now yesterday they released another note that the trade ministry should be taken over by the Minister for Lands. He's taking over.
Okay.
So let's give that one. But I am saying that the time has come for the president to understand that enough is enough. His cousin is destroying the economy.
Okay.
That he has to get a new economic minister to take over the economy. And let's see how and the new way someone can run or can manage the economy.
Okay.
And also, we will also ask that this is the time for them to call for the century sort of seminar that the NDC did. Bring all stakeholders on board.
Okay.
Let's discuss. Let's find a way and manner in which we can save our mother country, Ghana, from further being going to junk status. We are already in junk status. If you don't take care, the country will be declared as epic if you don't take care. And I don't think we should get to that place.
I think we don't have that opportunity anymore because we are now middle income.
Yeah, we are now middle income.
So we can't be epic anymore. So that option is not available to us. And so if that was available by now, we would have even taken it, right? Anyway, let me take a quick break. When I come back, I want us to talk about last year. We want to take 2022 and review it, kind of go back in memory, talk about e-levy, criminalization of speech. I want us to talk about inflation, which you've cited at 54 currently. Because we saw the signs since last year that inflation was getting out of control. So I want us to talk about that. Then we talk about COVID expenses and how that was accounted for. And La Bianca, which is the custom officer, the arrangement they had where, this company La Bianca was importing a lot of products into the country without necessarily meeting the required tax. And then we talk about Oforiatta himself and the cathedral. So we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll address those issues for the day. If you haven't already done so, please share the link so that others who may be interested in this program can enjoy our discussions. Again, my name is Alfredo Muzu, and this is the Ghana Agenda. We'll be right back.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS, IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state of Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. If you are 65 years and older, there's one thing we can all agree on. Your health and well-being is important. Whether you are a recent green card holder or retiree, asylee or without paper, you're now eligible for the Illinois Medicaid Health Insurance Program. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, WhatsApp, SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. Documents needed to apply: your proof of ID, your proof of address, and your proof of income.
All right, welcome back to the show. My name is Alfredo Muzu. You're watching the Ghana Agenda. We've been talking about the current situation we find ourselves in, whether Ghana is bankrupt or not. I think we missed Dr. Atto. He didn't do his presentation, but he's back now. So let me bring him in and see if he can tell us or give us his take on this issue. Dr. Atto, can you hear me? He's been having some network issues. So
yes, I can. Give me 1 second, please.
Okay, no problem. Okay, no problem. So once we hear from Dr. Atto, we are going to pivot. All right, Dr. Atto is here. Dr. Atto, we coming into this discussion today, I figure that when institutions or individuals go for bankruptcy, for instance, they have a trustee that is appointed who actually marshals how properties is accounted for and creditors are taken care of. But in this particular situation, it seems the person who is going to the bankruptcy, all right, or the person who is unable to pay bonds and the coupons on those bonds when they come due is the same person who will be administering or accounting for its properties and then distributing them. One sad part is that even bonds that were attached to things like ESLA, which is a revenue stream that is coming in on the regular basis. Like every time you buy petrol, you pay ESLA. You are saying that you wouldn't even pay the coupon on those bonds, that even the principal, when they come due, you wouldn't pay until like some 2027, 2028, 2038. So we are saying, how is that? ESLA is for the issues we had when we had the energy sector issues we had, right? And we've dedicated a revenue stream for that. That revenue is coming, but you say you're not going to pay that. Dachi bond, which is the one that is attached to Get Fund, we are continuing to pay Get Fund each time we buy petroleum, etc. These revenue streams continue to produce money to the government, but the government says they are not going to pay those debts. So it is kind of sad that there is not an external trustee in the system, which doesn't lead, in my perspective, it doesn't lead to fairness with regards to the creditors in this particular situation. Do you agree with me?
I agree with you. And it's a very sad situation. I listened to my brother, Kojo DC. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I listened to my brother, Kojo DC, struggle to explain even the debt exchange program with all these bondholders. You can't pay your standard debt. You can't pay your domestic debt. I mean, I had hope in this government that they would be able to, make some very good decisions. But right now, there's no hope. and it appears like I don't know where they're hiding the money from the COVID relief. It's like, I mean, anytime I listen to Ghana, anytime I listen to people complain about all this bond exchange and all this stuff, because you would think that, okay, so in Ghana we have people who thought it wise to invest in men's gold, right?
Right.
We all agreed that it was not the best. People invested in all manners of investment deals that were not right. But even in the US, the safest way you can invest in is government bonds. At least you know that at least you are secure.
You're gonna get your money back.
But the government, yeah, I mean, Alfred, the situation is really, I don't even know how we're gonna come out of this. Like, I agree with you. The IMF giving us some relief for not. I mean, bankruptcy is an illegal term. But if on the face of it, we cannot pay our debts, so we have to declare bankruptcy. Right. And it's sad that you would think that all the monies that we have borrowed as a nation, we cannot be saying we are bankrupt now. I mean, where is the money? Where is the money? And then you can take the loss into your own hands and then determine what you want to do without recourse to people that you borrow the monies from, because you think you're government. It is not the best, and I'm surprised that the finance minister is still in office. Right? I mean, I heard Kojo DC talk about the dollar rates. I hope he doesn't even mention that again, because right now the dollar is 1 to 12 or 13. And it was interesting that no one could, even the finance minister could not even tell why there was a drop in the dollar rate. So you knew that it was just a fluke, or was just something waiting to happen, that it goes back up. Alfred, I'm lost of words, especially me, who supported this government, that they will do a good job. And it's not just about someone who attended Harvard. I don't have the mindset that, people from Harvard, all these people are not doing good. We have to do it individually. It's not about someone who people try to, the Harvard graduates, blah, blah. No, this is about Kenofurata, who was mismanaged our funds. And you know what? I don't know if the COVID was a blessing to the NPP. I say that not jokingly, because it appears when the COVID hit, before the COVID, we were doing good. But when the COVID hit, all the money we got from the IMF, all the money we got from the COVID relief, we screwed everything, or we just...
Is it that before the COVID we were doing good, or we were lying about how we were actually doing? Because
I think before the COVID we were doing good, but then people realized that some monies are coming in, so let me start to grab monies. That's how I feel, because it cannot just be that after COVID, with all the monies. Okay, so if before the COVID we didn't have all the funds for the relief, the IMF helping us, how come we're doing well?
But before the COVID, we were keeping our debts under the line. We were not reporting our debts appropriately.
We're postponing our debts. Yes, I agree with you.
We were debt distress long ago.
Yes, we borrow and then we postpone, and then we borrow again.
And because the economy wasn't doing good, we try to say, we already imposed this thing on ourselves that if the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate would reveal that, right? But we were always bringing in 3 billion every year to show the exchange rate, so that it masks our non-performance, right? You wouldn't see that we are not performing.
Yes.
So we've done a lot of creative things, right, until COVID hit. And because even prior to COVID, even on this show, we were doing our analysis and we were saying, no way. There's no way you are making, like I even came and said, that the Minister of Finance violated the fiscal responsibility act, because he keeps saying that he's meeting the target, but he's not, just because he continues to report the banking sector cleanup and all these other things under the line. And you're not supposed to do that. Anyway,
I think the situation is more so profound, because right now we are tampering with domestic bonds or domestic debts. You know what I mean? At first, it was just an external debt that we were trying to buy time, but you buy time, but you don't have a plan to pay,
right?
Which is really sad. You just say you're buying time, but you don't have the plan to pay. And right, that's what I'm saying. That, I mean, if you compare relatively before the COVID, we were better. right now we are in a situation where it's in an abyss. I don't know how we're going to come out of this, and it's bad for any government who comes to inherit this debt and this mess that the NDC MPP government has put us through.
Do you think cutting down expenditures will be helpful, and why do you think they're not doing that? Because we still have the bloated government that the Akufo-Addo government.
Yes, I think I've said this before.
Yeah.
The finance minister bankrolled or financed the president. That's what I'm saying. Our system is really weak. So much that if I want to become a president, I seek for help from you, from Lifetime, from all these people to become president. If I don't win, I try again. I come for you for help again. So if I win, I have to find a way to pay you back. This is the situation that we are faced with right now.
Right. But I mean, you took the ministerial appointments from some 88 or so to 100 and whatever that is right now.
What I'm saying, because all these people have helped in the past. So we're
in trouble now, right? We are in trouble now. No matter how they help you before, I mean, you've given them the first 4 years. They would have, I mean, at least.
I agree with you. You would think that the president would make decisions, say, okay, let me cut down my government. I mean, it would help. Right now, every cut that we do would help. Cutting off the government, cutting down the cost, it would help.
How about the cathedral and the 88 hospitals we are trying to build?
You can go there. Let's not even discuss that right now. That's right now. We don't have. I mean, there's time for everything. You don't have the money, so it's that upsets me so much. That is even considering building a cathedral when you don't have the money to pay for people you owe.
Right.
You don't have the money. You cannot pay your standard debt. You cannot pay your domestic debt.
Yeah.
And then some people are making the case for a cathedral. Like we don't have churches just in Ghana. What would a cathedral do for us right now? What?
Right.
What? We have churches every. It's. I don't know what Nanado is really looking for.
Yeah, I think
I don't know.
It's not administering some pain. Yeah, for me,
it's sad that you go demolish buildings for judges.
Right.
You don't have the money to, and then you keep putting. Maybe Kojo has a explanation for this. Maybe it's just divine. I don't know about this, but this is the most useless initiative that the government has done.
Right.
Build a cathedral when you don't have any money. You owe people.
And I'm going to bring Kojo in on this as well. Kojo, you feel free to kind of exchange, contribute.
I just wanted to be quiet and listen. Okay, first of all.
Yeah, hold on. Let me ask this question, right? So, in the middle of all this, are we saying that the government couldn't find a single initiative of theirs and say, you know what, maybe let's put a hold on this for now, because everything is full blast. We are still going on with all the initiatives. We are still paying, like Paul is saying, the nurses allowance, the trainees allowance, and all these other emoluments. Matter of fact, there's just negotiated with labor to say we are increasing your pay to 30% next year, right? And of course, we understand the role inflation is playing in all this. You are increasing their pay to 30%. Inflation is 55%. They've given you, let's say, $100,000 as bond investment into bond. You are not going to pay even a coupon on that for the next 3 or 4 years, right? So by the time you start paying coupon, wouldn't inflation have wiped out the value of the entire money?
You see, time of money is a different thing. But let me just answer some quick questions. First of all, can any of you mention any of our debt that we've not paid for 2023? Any of you? Can you get me one that we've not able to pay?
Yeah, I can.
Give me which one?
Right now, you're negotiating with people that you're not
No, not negotiation. What we've not paid as a country.
We've not paid
which one? Which one?
I cannot.
Could you DC?
Yeah,
we have not paid our external debts. As we speak, we have not paid our external debt.
I will send you I mean, look but you'll find out how much you have not paid that debt.
Let me say this. Right?
Because we will know this from the fiscal data.
Can you let me come in?
Okay.
Sure.
We are negotiating certain debts that we want to renegotiate on those certain debts is the one that we say we are not going to pay the coupons on it as we speak. It's not like the entire debt of the Ghana government is not being paid. Then by now we'll be insolvent, right? So when we say I understand that we've made some mistake and have admitted it on this platform. The government have admitted it on this platform. But in moving forward, what are the solutions? Nobody's preferential. We are all lamenting and saying, "Oh, we did this."
What mistakes have you made? I mean, we're trying to make sure we.
If you want me, I'll be specific. For instance, the government thought with saving lives was better to spend money in terms of COVID. We have our borders locked for over a year and over, going into 2 years. There was no revenue, but the government was still spending. That's a money that we could have afforded not to do. We could have just used it for investment and open, and then if people will die, they will die. We did not do that, right? There were teachers who were sitting at home for 8 months or 9 months that were being paid. We could have said, no, you guys should go and work and bring the money. Those are all there. Those are monies that we didn't have as a government, but we spent it. And once you spend that money, you have to pay for it.
No, let me. You did say that we locked down for 1 year and there was no revenue. How did we then manage to beat our revenue targets for 2020 and 2021?
Can Kojo stop deceiving us this afternoon?
Yeah, I mean,
no. I am asking you. I'm asking you.
Kojo, do you know the amount of money?
Hold on, Paul. Hold on, Paul. Let me ask you this. The money that we're paying to all the teachers, all the workers that were sitting at home, did the government have the money? Or was it borrowed to use that? Just answer me that question.
Kojo, listen to me. When COVID strike, okay, the total amount of money that was given to Ghana government from the IMF, from World Bank, from the African Bank, from the Bank of Ghana, from social civil societies, that money was not money that even if there was no COVID, there was no way this government would have gotten that money. Get that one clear.
No, but you're not answering me. Paul, you are not answering the questions. Those money that was given to us, what was it spent on? Do you have any contrary how that money was spent?
I guess that's a good question for you, Kojo.
No, I'm not. You have to tell me.
Expenses accounting.
I am telling that the number of money, the amount of money that was given to us during COVID, it is 10 times the money that if there was no COVID, those staffs or those productivity that you're talking about will bring in. Get it clear. As we speak, Kojo, please, let's stop this mischief. Let's be serious for once. As we speak, okay, the president has given us different figure, being the cost of COVID money expenses.
Right.
The vice president
we are chasing rabbit holes. That's not something that we are discussing. Listen, the fact of the matter is Ghana had always. Can you tell me 1 day, 1 year, or any of our government that we have never had deficit? Can you tell me? None.
My brother,
can you?
Let me tell you on point. The money that we got is the most highest money ever that we've gotten for free.
We've been saying this since 1992. Since 1992, every government come, the opposition will say, you've had the most money more than ever. We said the same thing. Mahama went to 2014. You're saying, and you're going to have the same thing.
Let me explain. The issue is that we had the COVID, right? We had relief. We had the COVID relief to give us, right? And the amount of money that was given to us for the COVID relief was a humongous amount of money that was able to cater for the situations that you're talking about right now. But what do? We mismanage the funds.
That's why we are here. All right. If I'm not mistaken, we got 23 billion Ghana cedi from the money. If you don't know, I'm telling you.
This is 4 against 1. Let me just.
This is not 4 against 1.
Of course, I know it's 4 against 1. I know.
You need to admit that the MPP has goofed. They've mismanaged the economy, which Dr. Tu has taken the boldness to admit that the economy has been messed by your MPP government. So just admit it and let's move forward.
Yeah. Okay. Paul. Let me. Paul, you said something like we have goofed. We have admitted that there has been some mistakes that we shouldn't have done on the hindsight, right? We understand that. Of all the lamenting that you guys are lamenting, in terms, I'm talking about. Hold on.
Yeah.
What you want me to answer you?
Yeah.
What are your alternatives as to this situation that we are? None. You're just lamenting. What is your alternative? See, when the former president, hold on. One after the other, so we can understand each other.
Recognize you before you talk, okay?
Wait, can I give the alternatives? Can I give the
hold
alternatives?
on. All right, so let Paul provide alternatives to Kojo. Then Dr. Ato, you come in, and then we can go to
the number one alternative is for the president to cut down on the number of ministers we have as we speak, and deputy ministers.
To how many?
I thought you were gonna say he should resign.
To how many?
5-0, at least 50.
Are you going to put that in your manifesto? Is the government going to do that?
We don't need this huge amount of ministers. That's number one solution. Number two, the people working in the presidency, the office of president, we have almost over 1,023 people working over there. What are they doing over there? Cut the number down. Number three, the taking of the private jet, whereby we are paying $19,000 an hour. He should stop it. Number four, the V8 that he has rented, or the V8 that he put the seat he sits on in.
Are we serious as a country, or with this rhetoric every day? Are we serious as a country? We just recite this in over and over and over, and you think it's going to bring any solution? This is a solution.
Come on. The money they are investing in the cathedral, they should stop it. It is not needed now.
We're giving you the answer, and then you are saying what?
Let me give you the last one. Number six, cut down on some of your flagship programs. Example, the teachers' allowance, the nurses' allowance. This is the time that you need to call it a spade, and stop it.
Alfred, let me just answer this question, and I will be quiet. I will be saying just 10 seconds. The teachers' allowances that Paul is talking about, isn't that his own former president is saying that he's going to bring you and pay for it? So all these things is just talk, right? I want that on paper. Let them write their manifesto.
All right, I think we lost Kojo. Yeah, go ahead.
So I don't think it behoves on us.
We are going to cut. Hold on. We are going to cut our ministers to 50. We are to the both regional ministers, and we are going to put it on paper. Just not saying it, right? When you're talking about the ministers that we have the same minister. You talk about the first term of our ministers. I admit, I thought it was too much, and I admit, as a small country, it was too much. And I'm somebody who will tell you the truth. I didn't like it, but we've reduced it to a certain level. So,
no,
I didn't like it. People who know me, I've always expressed that position to people, even in government. I said, I don't know why we have to have a small country like Ghana to have 120 something ministers. Never. And I'm not afraid to say it. I'm being recorded. I understand that. But
so
yes, the number.
Why we didn't have it then? Is it that your government
it's passed? It's passed. Can you go back? We can go back. So we can go back to 2020 back, right? You can go back 2020.
No,
I'm asking, can you go back to 2020?
My brother, hear me out. You have until 2024, right? Is that correct? Are you still keeping the number of ministers that you personally disagree with? So you
did you hear what I said? I said the first term, the 126 ministers, I disagree with it. I'm not saying about this time around, right? As much as I also agree, we have 86 at the moment.
Okay.
86 ministers. We don't have 26. That's what I'm saying. Yes, as a small country as Ghana, we can reduce it. But this is what the constitution are giving to us. And that means that at least we're supposed to be 19 cabinet ministers, right? And then we have the unlimited of how the president can appoint whoever he or she wants, right? That is something that we can all discuss and say, oh, as a small country like Ghana, 31 million population, we can have maybe 14 ministers, or maybe what the constitution has stated, 19 cabinet ministers will be enough. We can create all these agencies that will handle other things for us. We understand. But quick question, let my brother Paul knows that Even when he's talking about we cutting the nursing allowances, your government is saying that because you lose the election, when I come, I'll pay for it. So what is the inconsistency? There's the inconsistency here. He's not being truthful to us. You're just lying to come to power, and then you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that what was going on. That's why I said that."
I think Alan
Tell me
about the same thing, but anyway, we'll come back to that.
That's a different thing. We'll talk about that one.
I think that's a different thing. All right, I thought land for me, and then I'll go to.
I was saying that it doesn't behove on us to find solutions for the MPP. They said they had a man. So they should not. You should not come and ask us to find solutions. You said you had a man. You mess up. You come and tell me.
And they started with 126 men.
Yeah, you have the men, and then when you mess up, you come to me and say you're not making solutions. You mess it up.
Dr. Ato, you are not part of that. I'm talking about the NDC. I'm talking about the NDC. NDC that want to be an alternative to the government. They should bring it up. When we were in opposition, we're bringing the solutions.
You say you have the men, so fix it. Don't ask the NDC for help.
We are doing it. We are doing it.
Fix it.
We are doing it.
All right, okay. Kojo, please on mute now. Okay, guys, let's go to you, my brother, lifetime legacy, Apostle Gasto, right? Lifetime legacy. So last year we started things like this discussion on e-levy being the be-all, what do you call it? It's going to solve all the problems, right? That we didn't need to go to IMF once we introduced this e-levy. We started at 1.75%, all right? And then we negotiated it down to 1.5. Recently, it's been revised again down to 1. This is not a revenue stream that existed before, but we got that in place. How do you think we are doing with the e-levy? Is this program working? And, this was a very fierce debate at the beginning of the year 2022. E-levy came to pass. People are paying it. It didn't kill people, Perhaps some revenues were being generated from that. Do you think it was necessary for the bickering that preceded the passage of that bill?
Thank you, Alfred. I think the position, as far as some of us are concerned on e-levy, has not changed. It's a regressive tax. It's a robbery tax. This money, as we speak, the number of people who used to patronize the services of the money transfer is still in a decline. So for me, this is avoidable if the government has listened to advice when they were spending recklessly, wasting resources on useless things. If they have listened to advice, there will not be a need for us to find ourselves in this situation, let alone introduce the e-levy. So Ghanaians will continue to find a way of avoiding it. As in whether it has helped.
But is that a responsible thing to say, because we still have the revenue issues, like we still have the revenue generation issues? This is the reason we run deficits, and it's the reason we go to the IMF or to the bond market and borrow ourselves to the ditch. Shouldn't we be encouraging any attempts to actually increase our revenue envelope instead of encouraging people to avoid paying taxes that would have helped us solve that problem?
Alfred, there are some taxes that are legitimate. And legitimate tax, e-levy is not one of them. E-levy is a robbery tax. You get it? I am not against paying tax. You and I here in US, we pay so much tax, but we know what the taxes that we pay are used for. So even when you pay it, you don't even feel it, because at the end of the day, you see the impact or the end results of what you are paying, and you are making use of it. In that regard, when you are paying it, you don't feel it. You get it? But this is not the situation as far as the E11 is concerned. The mismanagement, the wastage, the indiscipline as a result to where we find ourselves and the need to introduce the e-levy. Up to now, the government is not listening to advice to do some of the needful thing that Ghanaians can sympathize with. You get it? For instance, if you are taking me an e-levy to solve the debt situation we find ourselves as a country, and the same Ghanaians are telling you that, hey, the kind of lifestyle you are living, the extravagant lifestyle you are living, the over size government you have in place, the number of V8 you drive on daily basis, reduce them, and you still call Ghanaians a bluff and expect them to pay the tax. They also find a way of avoiding it, even though it's not what they call it. It's a robbery tax. They will still find a way of avoiding it. So until the government do what is right, the government do the needful, the government are here to advise. They will indirectly make some money, yes. Even if it is 1 cedi they get by from this introduction of e-levy, it is still money. But then they could have gotten, Ghanaians could have sympathized with them and decide to bet a price if the government have also decided to listen to advice being offered by Ghanaians. But as long as they decided that they would not listen to what Ghanaians will tell them, there's no way Ghanaians will also listen to them. So for me, the reduction from 1.5 to 1 will not make any significant change as far as the revenue generation is concerned.
Okay.
I still consider it a robbery tax. If I have my own way of avoiding it, I will do. So I think Ghanaians will also do.
Okay. Thanks for that. Let me switch to Kojo. Kojo, are you there?
I'm here. I've read.
Kojo, I want you to discuss these two things for me. So the e-levy, I know we made a lot of noise. The perception was, it's on both sides, right? The government is, if we get e-levy, we wouldn't have to go to IMF, but we are with IMF. Second, the opposition says e-levy would destroy the economy, but I guess that has not happened, you know? So in Ghana, we seem to kind of beat ourselves into some corners, right? Especially with this e-levy thing, I think we could have collectively worked together to pass this bill amicably and educate our people to support government that way, because we know the existential issue of we not being able to generate enough revenue to support our budgets. Do you think today, looking back, that all that debate was necessary? Of course, the opposition was very key in objecting to, the tax itself. Do you think the government could have done better working with the opposition as well? And do you think, I think both sides have some counseling here to be done. But I'm saying, do you believe that conversation or the discussions around the e-levy was necessary? And if it had damaged us even further, polarized our population, and that our politicians should learn some lessons from here? And if there are those lessons to be learned, which ones do you think, what are they? It's a lot of questions.
It's a lot of questions hanging there. Let me just do much in terms of taxation, right?
Right.
Nobody is like want to be taxed. So no matter how you slice it, people will always go against it. By the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves as Ghanaians, in every developing country or developing country, what is being used to do? That's money. We have with the government taxes, and they use that money to do those infrastructures that we want. The hospitals, the road, the water, everything is done using money. So yes, I think if we all could come together. There's always going to be opposition to something. There's never going to be a time where something will be said and then everybody will just say, oh, yes, let's bring it out. Never. There's always going to have people who are going to oppose to them. But the bad thing in Ghana is when you're in government and you're proposing something that will help even with subsequent government, I will use this because I have to talk against myself first before I talk against somebody else. When we're talking about VAT, we opposed it, right? We came back, we invested in it, we even increased it, right? Was it a good thing? Yes, it was a good thing for the government. It was a good thing for revenue to generate. This is a country where we have so many people making money without paying no taxes. So, in order for the government to have some revenues from somewhere, let's say if we can have a way, it's kind of almost like an indirect tax, but it's a tax where we can have generation of revenue from all sorts of life. The opposition run against it. They said no. Even when we come, we'll cancel it. I'm just waiting for the let's say unlikely event the NDC comes to power in 2025.
2025, yeah.
I'm just hoping once they come, that will be the first thing they have to say. We are canceling it. Oh, you're a prophet. I have to come to you for church. I don't go to church anyway. They are not going to do.
Inherit would be dire. So how do you cancel?
Exactly. So for me, I was thinking like things that would generate anything for us, we should do. Let me say the Osler. When we're opposition, we're talking against it. We haven't canceled it.
You increased it.
Exactly. So for me, I will be the first person if the NDC comes to power. Likely event.
The thing about the strange thing that this government actually did it, they didn't only increase something like ESLA, but they mortgaged it. They took money ahead of time.
Because we need revenue to do development.
No,
I'm not against it.
See, so because you mortgaged it,
with mortgage it for what? That's the matter. That's the point. Yeah, you see. That's why I was saying. So your members of parliament who are approving all these loans, what are they doing? Are they sleeping in there? That's what former President Mahama told us when we're asking, what have you done with the money? He told us, he said, what are you sitting in opposition for? You're sleeping? You don't read the budget, you just pass it so that we just take the money and then we chop it, like you guys are saying? Is that what you're telling us?
That is a really good question now, but
I'm asking you. Yes,
it's a really good question because all these decisions to mortgage
everything is passed through parliament.
All that goes through parliament, yeah.
That's right. And who is in parliament? Is the MPP alone? No.
The numbers are such now that
but they are still even the 2.5 increase that we did on this budget is passed against 137, 138. It's passed.
Yeah, I don't know that the mortgaging of ESLA actually happened in the
everything went
right when you had all your numbers.
It's who say yeah, who didn't say yo. We don't have any registered vote of who did it. We just say yeah and nay. That's it. If you want to make sure people are voted for something, then we should amend those laws in there that people will be voted and know your record of voting when you're in parliament. You understand?
Is closed. You can do it. You can ask for.
Yeah. So what about NDC? For NDC say where we couldn't hear them. There's no record for it. When five MPP said nay, and we couldn't hear it because there's no record for it.
Continue.
You understand? Yeah. So for me, anything that would generate revenue for the development of the country, and the most important thing on it is those revenue when generated, are they going to be used for those purposes that we intend to do instead of giving businesses to our cronies and friends and political friends, right?
You should be answering that question.
I've never had any political money from anywhere, not any government. I work for myself. I'm a truck driver. I drive my trucks. I get my money. I spend it. I can speak freely because I don't depend on anybody. You understand? I understand the feeling of, we're coming to government and then people who have never worked in their life become so rich in the 30 seconds. I'm not into that, right? But I'm just saying this. anything that will generate revenue is very important for the country, because even here we are. Last time my wife gave me our phone bill, right? You can see the ridiculous things that have been charged on it. It's like paper, even paper that they send and the charges on it.
You mean
I
the
was like,
US
oh,
or in Ghana?
US. I'm talking about US.
Okay.
Yeah, you see all these charges that are being charged, and what are those? They are paying to the government to develop our roads, our schools, and everything. So as long as citizens we are paying all this in terms of giving that revenue to the government, what we have to do as citizens is like hold the governments, whichever government is in power, accountable that those monies are used very well, efficiently, that people will benefit out of it. So me, I don't have a problem. If NDC comes and they will maintain it, I will support them, to be frank with you. In a likely event, and I know they are not coming, they will just be crying and talk. By 2024, they will see their level.
Okay, perfect. Paul, let me bring you in. Paul, COVID discussions.
My brother Kodio is so confident, pal.
Very one. You see, we are mobilizing. You will be surprised. You guys should be ready.
Okay, we're gonna talk about election too. So, guys, I think we have about some 25 minutes. Let's use it quickly to run through some of these things. So, Paul, we've had all this fight over this levy, and it was gonna destroy the economy, etc. It didn't. Did you think it was necessary for us to go through all those painful moments to get here?
Can you put your question again?
So I'm saying that, before we kind of pass the e-levy law or tax into implementation, before we implemented that, we had so much fights about how, first of all, one, the government's position was it was going to be bringing some 6 billion, which would help us not go to IMF, but we all know that is not what happened. The opposition, NDC, says that it's going to destroy the economy. It's regressive tax, etc., etc. Well, we passed it, and it hasn't destroyed the economy. So, what is it necessary? The fight we have over these things, should we be rethinking it and kind of working together? And what lessons have you learned from that?
So, the first place, if you say should we be thinking it, is the MPP that should be thinking it, because look, they were told that what you are going to do, the difficulty it is going to bring, we warned them. They did not listen to us. So now we are coming back to square one. The very thing we're saying that started at a very low rate, as time goes on, you increase it. They refuse to listen. Now we are starting at we are rather coming from a high rate, reducing to the low rate. So look, the question over here is that no country or no government can work or can run an economy without taking taxes from the people. NDC as a party is not against taxes.
Right.
But with this e-levy taxes, the way and manner it was implemented, that's where the issue is.
All right.
We asked them that let's go on the drawing board, let's consider the factors, let's consider how you say you're going to charge the people, let's do it the right way. They refused to listen.
Okay.
They wanted to, or they have made themselves Yintie Obia Aban, and the consequence is hitting them. This government, when it comes to the economy, it is on record that they've been the most worst government ever in the history of Ghana. When it comes to the management of the economy, security, governance, every aspect. The only aspect I'll give to them is that when it comes to corruption, they are masters of corruption. That's the only one that I can give to them.
Okay, let's move it on. All right, Ato, I don't know if you listen to the questions, but
I listen.
Yeah, my concern is, do we do ourselves harm? Because we spend almost 3 to 4 months fighting over implementing a revenue measure, which we all know we need. Like my brother Kojo is saying, I don't think the NEC is gonna abolish e-levy when they come into power. Why do we do this to ourselves? Any lessons learned, any recommendations you can proffer going forward? Because it's like our politics is even sometimes harmful to our own interests, right? We know we need revenue. We are trying to find ways to raise revenue. Anytime the revenue measure is introduced, we fight tooth and nail over it. We waste time, waste everybody's resources going to do town halls and all kinds of other things. Any advice?
No. Yeah, sorry about that. My internet is really spotty. Yeah. So I was for the e-levy, and in hindsight, knowing what I know now, with how the government mismanages our funds.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes. So I said, in hindsight, I wouldn't have supported the e-levy because I know the government mismanage our funds. But no one wants to. Nobody wants to pay taxes. Even in the US, we try as much as possible to avoid taxes. It's like paying the road toll. If you know that there are other ways you can get around it, you'd rather use the longer route. So I know that taxes will help us, but this government has really mismanaged our funds. So I don't think they're right to come and tell us to pay taxes to help fund the economy. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Right. But I'm saying that, we are not able to raise enough revenue to support all the programs that we run in our country.
Because we are spending recklessly.
We take loans, right?
Yeah.
We go take loans, and it pushes us down into the type of problems we currently have. Because it's either you pay it in tax, or with defaults on your debts, like domestic bonds, and then we have this problem. So I'm saying that, there got to be some adults in the room, right? There has to be some reasonable discussions between the ordinary persons who's perhaps represented somehow with the government, and solutions should be formed around how we are going to actually develop our country without acting like little kids. Because at the end of the day, we only have one Ghana, right? And we want to make sure that we.
I know. I don't want to cut short, but then the government is also just look at itself and see how it's overspending, because you cannot just overspend and come and tell me to pay taxes. That's my point. But right in the situation right now, I don't know if any government will come and say, "Oh, I'm gonna slash this e-levy," because right now it's becoming a necessary tax.
Right.
Because we don't have the money from anywhere. So it's catch-22. We do it, we are doomed. We don't do it, we are doomed. So any government that comes after this may have to consider maybe not just scrapping that e-levy, but maybe finding percentage-wise reducing the amount. But my point is, you cannot just spend anyhow and come and tell me to pay taxes.
Right.
That's my point.
Okay. So for the next 20 minutes that we have left, I'm going to I have a few things I want us to talk about, but some of them, maybe we should push them to our next show. So I have inflation I want us to talk about. I want us to talk about elections, the Office of Special Prosecutor and how he's doing. And of course, Oforiata and the Cathedral, right? But maybe we should segue into elections now, because I know there's been some resignations, policy statements that has been read out by the foreign, is he the Minister of Trade and Minister of Trade, right?
Yes, Alan Chamante.
Alan Chamante. And we also know that the Minister of Agriculture has also stepped down in preparation to embark on his campaign. All right. So Chamante is saying a few things. He wants to industrialize Ghana. He's themed his plan GTP, right? What is that, Kojo?
All right. you are Muzu, all right. Okay. For me, the election 2024, IEA, first of all, there's going to be a primary on the 30th of January, 31st of January, 30th. The Council of Elders are going to meet in terms of the MPP to set a date for the presidential and parliamentary. For me, I'm an officer of the party, so I'm the organizer. I cannot endorse. I cannot campaign for anybody. So I'm neutral in here. I don't know. Whoever becomes the flag bearer of the MPP, I am 100% going to support that person. Would I have a privilege? Somebody that I would like to lead the party? Of course I do. But with my position, there's nothing I can do on that. So I welcome the former. I think he'll be leaving on Monday. That will be officially that he'll be leaving. The former Trade Minister Alan Kojo Martin John. He's tried this several times. Let's see what happens, and then whoever is also ready to go, let's lace our boots. Let's go to the delegate campaign, and whoever becomes the winner, all I will have to say is that people should campaign in a way where at the end of the day we are not going to give weapons like a Siedin Ketia did to Chairman for Swampofo. Right? And so we just hope that we'll have a clean campaign, bring your ideas, let the delegate buy into it. If you become the flag bearer of the party, we'll just support you.
Okay. So just quickly, who are the candidates that, or who are the people that you are aware of who have declared their interest to run? I know we have Tramante number one, and of course the Vice President Baumia is also interested.
The Vice President have not said anything. We're just speculating. As the moment, people who have shown interest or have said something, we just have to wait for it. We can, I understand. And you have all the right to speculate or do whatever. I understand it, and I agree with you as much as.
Right.
But we have until we hear from him. Let's wait. But we know Alan Chamantin is one, Joe Gate is one, Kennedy Japan is one, and then I think there's another guy, Comrade Japan.
You and the Joe Comrade Japan, is he Kennedy Japan camp, right?
Kennedy Japan. I like action. I'm an action guy, so but I don't have any camp at the moment. But I like action. Just
so Kojo,
yes.
Are you telling us on authority that you are supporting Kennedy Japan?
I'm not a supporter. I'm an officer. I can't support anybody. I support anybody who becomes.
But the way you said you like somebody with action.
I like action, but some people have actions. There are Comrade Japan have action, Kennedy Japan have action, Alan Temante have action. But I like action.
Okay.
You know, Akufo-Addo make presidency so cheap, extremely cheap.
All right.
If you want to go there, I think it will not be good for any of us. So let's move on. All right.
Let's keep it moving. Okay, good. I'll come back to you for a discussion of the GTP, which is I believe is Ghana Transformation Program. It almost sounded like the NDC's transformational agenda. That has been, a whole bunch of it has that feel. Some of what he said.
I've read. Let me say this. Which of these in the Fourth Republic have not said they're going to transform Ghana? All of them.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
I'm not saying anything bad about you, but I'm just putting in your head. How many of them haven't said that?
The political things I've heard in the past were positive change. Again, make Ghana great, right? Or something like that. What was the last one Akufo-Addo did? He said, campaign not to assume.
I don't know. You go on. Just let somebody come in. Let me.
Yeah, I'll bring you back in. But let me go to Paul. Paul. You heard Shamantain. I don't know if you actually pay too much attention to what he has to say, but he's very interested in running or running the country. Why do you think Shamantain should not be president? Paul. I asked a double negative there, but anyway, if Paul is not ready, I take it to.
Are you asking me that? Why do I think Alan Chamantin should not be a president?
Why should he not be president? Because I know you are going to say he should not be president. There
is a saying that, a decorated monkey will always remain as a decorated monkey. Not decorated. Look, Alan Chamantin, the agriculture minister, any minister in this administration is not permitted to stand on the ticket of the MPP.
Okay.
Simply because all those who have shown interest are part of cabinet. They've been in this administration for how many years? Over 6 years, 7 years. They've not
Not all of them.
Any change. I'm not saying all. I said those. I know Alan Chemante has been in cabinet. A free
also
has been in cabinet. Who again?
As of now, those are the two that we know.
In cabinet, right?
Dr. Baumia himself is not fit for purpose because he's the vice president of this administration, the economic the head of the economic management, and the economy has gotten to on its knees and at the verge of ICU. So as for Dr. Baumia, he should not even come near. I will consider Alan and Efrie because maybe they are ministers, they don't have that power that the manager of the economy had. They don't have that power. So for me, whether they bring Alan, they bring also Efrie, they bring whoever they bring, it is not that here, not there.
I think I forgot one. Boache Jakon is also interested.
Boache Jakon, okay.
Yes.
All these names, all these would have been
yes.
All these would have been mentioned. They are not fit for purpose. They cannot lead the country.
On the basis of them just being cabinet members, so do you have any other substantive reason for why they should not? They are not qualified, or they shouldn't even try to be president?
Alfred, what are they coming to do? They've been part of this government. They are in the government. If they have any solution,
but they are telling you what they are going to do in their.
That is the joke. That's the joke of the century. That's the joke of the century. If they have anything to perfect to help the economy, they should do it now.
Have you listened to Alan Chamante's speech?
I listened to it. It was full of, it was empty. So,
he said it's going to reduce the number of ministers.
Maza, why is he not advising Akufo-Addo to reduce the number of ministers?
But you don't know that. Maybe he is, and Akufo-Addo is just not listening.
That's why I'm telling you that none of them is fit for purpose. They are all not fit to become a candidate in the MPP. As a matter of fact, the MPP is going to go bankrupt on identifying who should be their presidential candidate. I'm telling you, whether they like it or not, the election 2024 is a done deal for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. There is nowhere, or there's no way whoever they will bring will be able to help the cause. For let me put on record, the most easiest person that when they bring, the most easiest person for us is Baumia, and I'll be happy if they bring Baumia because Baumia is noted to be the most lying vice president ever in the history of the whole world, and it's on record. So we are waiting for them to bring Baumia. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Let me go to Dr. Atto. Dr. Atto,
yes.
Who do you admire in this list? Alan Chamanten, Joe Gate, Kennedy Japan, Boache Jakon, and then the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia.
I mean, I made that mistake in the past by endorsing Nanado.
You are a Baumia guy, I know. You actually.
I was coming there.
Okay.
But with situations right now, I know the name Baumia exudes some kind of pressure on the NDC people, especially my friend over here, Paul. I mean, anytime he speaks, the NDC has no clue how to handle him. But in all honesty, I don't think Baumia should even come and tell us he wants to contest.
Dr. Atto,
because he's the head of the economic management team.
Dr. Atto, I can tell you for a fact that among all the 9 candidates, Baumia is the most weakest among all of them. That's what I can tell you for a fact.
Yeah. Okay. I'm only basing my argument because Baumia is the head of the economic management team. Right? And right now, people are saying, "Oh, they didn't allow him to do the work." But when things go well, then he's being hailed. So right now, today is the 14th of January. I'm not in support of my favorite guy.
Dr. Atto, quick question though. You understand you have to be a team player when you're working. You're working under somebody's supervision. Are you saying if you where you are, if you're not the boss and you're under somebody, can you just come out and then spill the beans, everything? Is that what you're saying?
But you are the head of the economic management.
Yeah,
team.
but it's a team.
You are
It's a
the
team.
assistant.
There's a vote
The head.
when there's any decision. Yeah, you are the head. Doesn't mean you take all the decisions by yourself. There's cabinet. There's
Okay,
something
fine.
that sits on that. And there's a vote,
Hey,
and then if
okay.
you bring your ideas and somebody
Yes,
said,
I get the
10
point.
against 1, yeah.
So when you guys were praising him, when you guys were praising him, he was on the head of the economic committee, right?
Yes, when Ghana had
When
a
you guys were
14,
praising him,
when
he was on the head of the
Ghana had
economic committee.
14.5% in GDP, John Dramani Mahama said he was the manager. Then when it came 3.7, he said no, it wasn't my fault.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
it didn't come to 3.4 when he was the head of the economic management. He was the president then.
Oh, that one is even worse. That is even worse.
Well,
you have the entire country under your supervision, and you do bad.
In the interest of time,
economic management team. But
go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, if you look clearly, the way things are going, Baumia should not be our next president because they have mismanaged the affairs. I honestly admire Chairman Ting, and we can next time because of time.
Okay. So you admire Chairman Ting. Why?
I like Chairman Ting, one, because he stood with the party for all these years. He's lost elections, and I like his how do I say?
He left the party at some point.
Yeah, but he returned.
That's no news. Leaving and coming back is no news.
Yeah.
So that one we don't have to worry about.
I like question of loyalty, right? Is he loyal to the party? I mean, you lost election and you told tantrum and then got out of the party. Bezidin
left, formed a party, came back and became a parliamentary candidate for the NDC. We have examples that we can always adduce to. So this shouldn't be something that would disqualify Lanchaman. I don't have a preference. I have my preference, but I don't have a preference. That's the thing.
I like him because of industrialization. I remember he discussed the way people are using Salva. And I like that idea of, I mean,
but that was a total failure.
Let him finish.
I'm just saying it.
I like improving our products, not just anytime we have cocoa, we just ship it somewhere else for someone to return and then give us a bottle of cocoa drink. That's what I like.
I can't start taking their party back.
The accusation is that somebody built a factory. All you need to do is plant sugarcane, and you haven't done that up to today.
No, he is not the president, so you cannot.
He is the minister of trade.
But why is Baumia the president?
The president's agenda. If the president says, "I don't want you to do that," there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, the president promised time over time again.
I'm only saying that out of the 5, that's who I like. So if you like anybody else, let me know.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's a good thing.
Okay, yeah, good. So you switch from. Let's take note of that. Dr. Switch from Dr. Baumia to Chairman Ting. It's not any tribalistic thing, right?
No, no, I have supported Baumia all the way. No, I don't have that in my blood.
I disagree with you, Dr. To, on the basis that you are saying that he's a cabinet minister. He's part of the economic management team.
He's not the head of the economic management team. He's not the head.
Yeah, the fact that you are the head doesn't mean that you take unitary decisions.
No,
you know that, right?
Between being the head and then being a part of a management team.
Okay, guys, let's move on. Mr. Lifetime, do you admire any of this? Which of these candidates will give Mahama a tough time? Or do you think Mahama should just run unopposed?
Alfred, sincerely speaking, none of them will give Mahama a match. Series of surveys have been conducted, and the end result is that Mahama, regardless of whoever they presented as candidate, will still win the election. So for me, we are not scared of any of them.
All right.
Any person they bring on board, we are waiting. But there is something that is worth looking at in the statement from Alan Chairman.
Okay.
For me, I think when you listen to most of his speech, it's an indictment on the administration he has worked in.
Okay, tell us about it.
For instance, talking about running a league government, is it not indictment? Is it not indicting the administration he was part, that they didn't do well as far as that aspect is concerned?
Right.
He also did mention of industrializing the country, which the president, as the administration he's serving, the president, one of his mantra is that
one village, one factory,
one district, one factory, and also industrializing the country. Is he not indirectly indicting that the government he served in have not achieved?
But he can still have those things on the agenda without necessarily indicting.
So if they have done well in that regard, why must that find its way in his speech?
He's not going to take 8 years to industrialize Ghana. You know that, right?
I see. So for me, all that he have mentioned is an indictment on the government that he was a part to it. There's nothing new that what do you call it, he can bring on the table. If he have contrary opinion to the government he served in, and he doesn't have the willpower to get those things done, principal position demands that you step aside right from onset. You don't wait to the 11th hour before you come out in the telling as cook and box story.
Contribute to, I mean, it's a teamwork, right? You're not going to have everybody on the same page as you, but it shouldn't mean that you will remove your services because everybody doesn't agree with you.
That would have been a principal position.
Let's say you're on a soccer team, you're playing, there are other positions that are not pulling their weight. You don't just leave the field.
Because governance is a serious business.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It's a serious business. So if you don't agree to some of the policies that is being implemented, and you have an ambition like this, you excuse yourself.
Yeah.
So having been in it for us, as my brother Kojo, he said in my brother Kojo's and Dr. Ato's language, opinion otina for otina se man kolare na kanu ibu na kare for wakam.
All right.
So
but
in that regard, he cannot.
We need to recognize the power of the executive, right? Because the president is the only one with the discretion to actually make things happen, and all other ministers work.
Okay, even let's even assume.
So imagine that the president doesn't want something that Chamantain thinks is the right thing. Chamantain, as a minister, cannot go against the president. Do you recognize?
So you resign. Right from onset,
like I said, it doesn't mean the president may want it done, all right, but
in a certain way,
the minister would do it, will be the executor. So the manner of execution, if the minister is very good at that, then there's no point in the vision still lies on the president, because at the end of the day, the buck stops with the president. The president is who will be blamed, not the minister. The minister will be blamed from the manner he executed.
I've read that. Chamantain will go around to be campaigning on some of the legacies. Some of the sources he chalked at the ministry. So, like I said earlier on, if you don't have as a principal person, if you believe in what you are doing, you believe in one thing and another thing is being done, you demonstrate that you are not in support of what is being done.
So, but
that note for me, it's still the same. Akweteshi in a different bottle. The value is still the same.
So you think
as for the rest of them, the Korean Japans, the Canadian Japans, the Africa, for me, it's a comedy of a century.
All right, let's wrap it.
Yeah,
let's wrap it up. Let me just say this.
Do your last word with what you're about to say.
What I'm about concerning what my brother just said. Lifetime Legacy said about Chairman issuing a statement in indictment of the government. If you read the entire statement, what he says, well, he's going to build on what the government have started. That's what he said. You know, it's not saying that what the government did was wrong. Yes, in terms of ministers, yes, he said it's going to change. That's fine. We understand that. That's the say. We all say that when they come to government, then he gets to and say I have a different so and so. But so just to say that his indictment on the government is not factual. The thing is, he said he's going to build upon what we've started. And like I always said, we have 27 alphabets. It's an English word. People use them and create some words, and then we all listen to something. Have to build upon something, right? We cannot just invest something from everything that is existing. This word has already been existed. We just built upon it.
So the context is that there's something good started here, and I'm going to continue it.
I'll continue. My brother asked for me, says spin room. You have to spin it, and I understand it. In your position, that's what you do. You have to spin so people will vote for you. But I'm just trying to let him know, right? They will have their shock of their life in 2024. If you think Ghanaians are not decent enough, and then you guys can just come in there, you bring in the dead goat syndrome again, and tell me and repackage it in the akpateshi. This is what do you call it? The other one, the name from the north. What's the name? Pito. Calabash. Then you bring in, you think you present it, and then Ghanaian people will buy it like that. No, we are going to state our policies. We are going to say what we've done in the last 8 years, and then we'll compare to your 8 years and see who is better management of the country. And I think the MPP stand tall. The NDC had not. All they know is about just speaking and talking and being propaganda. They don't have anything. They don't have a vision. Even as we speak at the moment as an opposition. Don't worry. You said I should finish. I'm finishing my statement. So that's my statement. So let me.
I don't even know if you believe in what you're saying, but it's okay.
I am 1,000,000% believe in what I'm saying. And the NDC cannot compare itself to the MPP in any shape or form.
All right.
Performance, anything, nothing. This is the only party that was in existence that it was called. So whole Supreme Court said loot, create, loot, and share. It's never been said in our fourth republic, even before our first republic, second republic, and the third republic.
Well,
so they don't even have to.
I mean, are you referring to the MPP judges?
No. Then, well, do you have MPP judges and we have NDC
Those
judges?
are
We're talking about Supreme Court judges. No, let me. That's right. So what?
Don't forget the very person who made that statement.
Go ahead, could you?
Don't let my brother lifestyle. Don't do like that. For him, he's the coolest. So I am always good when he banter me a little bit. But let the code. Okay. So I mean, thank you for all viewers for coming. Thank you, Alfred, yourself, my Dr. Ato, Paul, and then Lifetime Legacy. I mean, this is what we enjoy doing every week. I'm glad you'll be able to come so we can still do it and help Mother Ghana in any shape or form. We all have to come together in one way or the other to build a country that we all love. We love it. We are sitting down here talking about Ghana because we love the country. Let's find a solution moving forward so we can get out of this pickle that we are in. I mean, the hardship is everywhere. If you talk about inflation here, even though it's coming down, I think yesterday was about 6.5, which is coming down out of 9 point something. This is a different economy compared to ours. Britain is in crisis.
You mean the US?
No, the United US. Yes. I'm talking about US. It was around 9 about last year. Goes now 6.5. It's coming down, but things are still hard. China opens the economy, and then look at the gas. Gas started dropping up. I work in that transportation industry, and then everything is shooting up again. So 2023 is going to be a little bit difficult, but we're hoping we don't go into a recession. That is the most important thing we have to think, so people can keep their jobs.
We're a 0.5% growth, which is.
I know we have the World Bank report on the entire finances of the entire world is going to be very difficult. Let's embrace it. Let's hope. If we do our things right, things will change for all of us. But it's difficult. I just have to admit it. It's difficult everywhere. It's difficult here in America. It's difficult in so many countries. Some are suffering than others. But at the end of the day, we just have to pray for a long life, and then we'll see what happens to us. So thank you again, and thank you for the viewers as well.
Thank you so much. All right, let's go to my brother, Dr. Ato, for closing remarks.
So thank you for the opportunity to do this with you every week, and I hope we can involve our viewers and listeners that are phoning to come up with comments. That'll be nice too. But I'll my last comment is I would like to say my least favorite person to contest is because although he's action, but you want somebody with action with a temperament.
Right.
I don't think Kennedy Japan would have temperament to lead Ghana. He may have the action, but he wake up one day and insult all of us and tell us whatever.
Insult alone would be something we can deal with, right? If he doesn't, nuclear bombs over there, he can release the nuclear
the action
bomb.
is good, but like I said, his temperament is not the best to lead a leader. I mean, business-wise, you can just fire people and hire people and fire people, just like what Trump did. We don't want Trump 2.0 in Ghana. That would be everything.
Right.
Dr. Are you insinuating like action is just Canada, Japan? Action is everywhere.
Well, I'm saying that I like it who would do the action, but would have to
I'm just pulling your legs. Don't worry about me.
Good temperament with the Japan. He wake up one day and say stuff that he will need to regret the next day.
The man has been gentle for 2 years now. You should see that.
No, it's coming.
I think he's trying to run for president.
It is coming.
No, you're talking about 2.0 of Donald Trump. Donald Trump never changed, and he never changed. This guy has changed for 2 years.
Yes.
You don't believe in redemption, right?
No. Regards to everybody, especially my lifetime, he looks fresh, always, calm and fresh as always. But he just be throwing it all the time.
Ghana don't know.
I just from Ghana.
Because of you coming from the best president.
Yeah.
That's why.
Excuse me, bro.
All the best.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ato. Lifetime Legacy, let's hear from you.
Yeah, Alfred. I want to say that we all hope the best. As I went to Ghana to spend 3 weeks, if the situation was good, I would have enjoyed. So let nobody have the impression that because we belong to opposition, we wish the country collapse. No.
All your colleagues are getting married. I mean, beautiful women too. We saw Sami Jenfi. We saw our boy. What is the guy's name? The one on our platform.
Ofayao.
I also grabbed one. So I
was
expecting you guys. I think I go for the piece of all the women and they are running to you. So I was expecting you to grab yours before coming back. So when is the good news coming? When are you getting yours?
Baby's in the pipeline. So
let me agree with Dr. Ato.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, if it is good, the country is good, it's good for all of us. So there is no way we will wish the administration doom.
Right.
They must also have a listening ears and remember that Ghana is 65 years. NDC have gotten the opportunity to govern more than any other administration.
Okay.
So everything that we speak or we say or we channel out there is as a result of our rich experience in governance. So they should pay a little attention to the kind of things we say, and they will notice that there's a lot of wisdom in it.
Okay.
We will be taking over 2024 or 2025 January. We don't want a situation whereby we'll come back to Ghanaians and tell them that, hey, these people have created a mess beyond repair. That is the reason why continuously and consistently we continue to offer suggestions and advice.
Okay.
Notwithstanding, I also employed that my party hierarchy should also be monitoring the failure of this administration on daily basis. Let's be reviewing the books so that we know what to do as soon as we take the realm in 2025.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. That is the Ghana agenda for 2023, January 14th. Next week I'm going to be in Texas for a conference, but we will be back on air on January 28th. If it is Saturday, you know it's Ghana agenda, and I want to take the opportunity to again wish you all happy New Year, and thank my panelists for always making the time to come join us and have this wonderful discussions and bring their perspectives. I really appreciate everyone for watching. We would be back 2 weeks from now. If again it's Saturday, remember it's Ghana agenda. We have a lot of videos up there for you to actually go through, watch some of what we've discussed in the past. But we'll return, and there are a couple of issues that we haven't dealt with today, like the issue of free speech. We've done a little bit about the election watch. We also want to talk about inflation and perhaps accounting for COVID expenditure, and the operations of the special prosecutor when we come back next week, in addition to whatever other topics we would join with this. So we'll be doing the year in review B by B, and then we'll end it up somewhere before February is over with our projections for 2023. Again, my name is Safred Amuzu. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again on Saturday. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Are you 65 years or older? Good news. Illinois has expanded its Medicaid health insurance program to everyone 65 and older, regardless of your immigration status. Need help to apply? Contact United African Organization, UAO, WhatsApp SMS IL65 to 773-420-8976. It's true. For most people, your health insurance program increases as you grow older. That's why the state